in my mind, I felt like this, like, the only way I'm gonna get rich if I make them rich. So I'm gonna make them rich first. Really telling everybody that if it wasn't for me, it would be no Rockefeller, it would be no Rock Nation, it would be none of that. Explaining to them that Reasonable Doubt that was put out in '96, that's my life.
You know Jay-Z from what age?
8 years old, since we've been 8, 9 years old.
80s Marcy Projects, like.
It was pretty wild, pretty tense.
Police this noon are investigating a horrendous murder in Brooklyn. The victim was doused with gasoline and then burned alive. Now there are reports he may have been the wrong target of a drug war.
But it has some order to it. You know what I'm saying? It has some respect to it. It was, back then, it was like, when I say order and respect, man, a lot of this stuff that's going on today wasn't going on back then. When I say respect, you know what I'm saying, the gangsters, whatever was going on, had to go on in the streets was going on at night. When the kids was up. When the kids was in the bed. You get what I'm saying? When
so it wasn't like rampant drug dealing at 1 PM on Tuesday. Not out in the open. Not out in the open.
Nah, not out in the open and shit. It was a lot more respect for the elders back then and shit, especially being in the projects where everything was so close.
And arrests have also been made in the shootings of 2 undercover cops in Brooklyn last night. The officers wounded while on patrol in a known drug area familiar with random violence.
But it still had its problems with, separation. Like, you got two sides of Marcy. You got those from the Myrtle Avenue side and us from Flushing. We didn't get along as much, but, those who was somebody was able to get along over there a lot. You know what I mean? Just on one side, it's 24 buildings. It's about 20 something buildings on
so
each side.
It might be what, 10,000 or more residents or something?
So you got 24 apartments in a building. That's your family. And whatever's your building attached to, that's your family. So when I say, I grew up among our neighbors, you had drug dealers, you had dope fiends, you had molesters. All of that's going to be in your building, in the family.
Did you get involved in street activities before him? Because he hit the scene as a rapper, at least initially with Jaz-O. He was pretty young. He was like 18. What was going on in the two? Had you guys already dabbled in the street, or had you, or what was?
No, I have been in. I've been hustling all my life, man. When I say, hustling, I ain't touched drugs until I was like 15, 16. But prior to that, I already had money. This is what I was already a hustler. I was already hustling newspapers and running numbers and doing stuff for the older guys, carrying drugs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was already doing that. You know what I'm saying? My step pop was a heavy figure in the area. So I already had seen what was going on. So about time it fell in my hands, I already knew what to do. You know what I'm saying?
And what about Jay? Was he more, what was his family's? I mean, he raps about stuff and shooting his brother. Like, you don't have to tell his personal family business, but like, how close to the reality
to be honest,
is the way he talks about it in his songs?
To be honest, his personal family business is my business, because that's who he was with all his life, with my family. You understand what I'm saying? Like, he lived with my family for 15, 20 years. You get what I'm saying? Like in the house, like in my house. We moved from out of New York in the 80s, 89, 88, 89. And ever since then, we've been living together since 88, 89.
What age were you guys then?
We was at 88, 89, 17, 18.
And so where'd you guys move to?
I moved first, actually. You know what I'm saying? Things was getting pretty intense for me in New York, so my mom got worried and moved me to Jersey.
Meaning from selling?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Things got tense. And I had a better future with, in basketball. So they was trying to gear me in that direction, and I landed in Trenton. You know what I'm saying? Trenton had a good high school basketball program with my coach recommended and my mom, so they kind of shipped me out in Trenton. And
Trenton was kind of rough though, wasn't it?
But this is what I'm saying. But when I got in Trenton, I wouldn't say rough. Trenton enlightened me to where it was dudes getting money besides New York. You get what I'm saying? Like I saw
There's a lot
whole-
of economic opportunity in the
right,
streets.
like that. When I got to Trenton and saw what was going on in that high school.
In this neighborhood, children must struggle to do right. If you don't live here, some of their conclusions seem upside down. A boy can call a drug dealer a good guy and mourn him.
He was a good friend. When you tell him you need a little money, he'll give it to you. Like you tell him you want to go to the movies in the mall and you got like $10 short, he'll give you that $10 and won't ask you to pay him back or nothing like that. I don't think he should have got killed though. He was a nice guy.
Like I never seen high school students pushing Porsches and Benzes and Audis to school. I never seen that.
Andy Corbin, 16, got busted dealing drugs. He says he needed money for sneakers and his mom turned him down. Dealing paid 10 times what a straight job would pay.
Do you think you're a bad kid?
Not really. Because I'm doing partly the things that everybody else is doing.
But yeah, I ended up in Trenton, and Trenton turned me out, you know, without a lie. Trenton had turned me out. Like I said, I had never really seen that high school students, people my age with the money they had in Trenton, because everything was like, the value was much higher in New York. You know what I'm saying? In Trenton. So they was getting massive money. So that kind of turned me out. And
What was Jay-Z rapping? Had he gotten with Jaz-O yet?
Nah, he hadn't gotten with Jaz-O yet until he completely moved down there with me back like 89. By the time 89 came in, you know, Jay was already like really tampering with the music hard. And then that's where Jaz-O came in the picture. You know, Jaz-O was talented. He was smart. He was the only dude that had a record deal that had a record deal at that time.
He was in some of your projects too, right?
Yeah. And, you know, he showed Jay he showed Jay a lot, man. He put Jay on to the business side, showed him.
And just for the record, Jaz-O was a law-abiding citizen. He wasn't a street guy.
Nah. He was law-abiding store. Always a stand-up guy, always straight guy, forward guy, man.
Good. Which is better. Just, I don't know, people, he did his thing from hard work and talent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he wanted to show Jay, you know, he had a very interest in Jay and showing him the business and everything, you know. And it was cool to me, man, for him to do that at that time, because I was getting it in Trenton. And, you know, Jaz-O was like, yo, you know, I'm gonna take you. Jay was like, yo, I'm gonna go to London with Jazz. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
He said, I'm gonna go to London for a few weeks and shit with Jazz and shit. And they left and shit, and Jay came back with more knowledge and better flow. And
whose jewelry was Jay-Z wearing in that picture? Like in those early pictures when he had that big jewelry, was that yours or Jaz-O's or?
Oh, okay. Nah, that was ours, man. All the jewelry you see, man, that chain, that anchor and shit, I bought that for Jay for his birthday and shit. I bought that for Jay, like right after I got my chain and shit. Like I got that for him for his birthday.
So you guys were like brothers.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I've always carried it like that, man, to have my team looking right. I've never been the only one. You never just seen me. Nah, it was going to be me, Jay, Panama. We all going to be tight, you know, it's jewelry. So I got that for his birthday. He was surprised, man. The watch, the ring, the teeth, all of that shit, man. Like everything I had, I made sure he had. So
when did he get involved in stuff? Because he talks about it. This isn't anything new.
When I kept coming back from Jersey and shit before he came down, and when I kept coming back, I was coming back, you know, with more and more flow. Like shit was, it's popping. I got shit lit down here, this and that. Just give it a minute. Let me put the blueprint down for you. So when you come down, everything is good. By the time he got down there, man, Jay, it was already laid out. People already was expecting my brother. You know what I'm saying? I had been bragging about him. You know, he used to come down on weekends, and I used to be like, yo, you know, these guys can rap or whatever and shit. They used to say, yo, you think your brother gonna... I used to be like, yo, y'all find anybody, you know what I mean? I get Jay to tear him up. And that's when, I don't know if you're familiar with Poor Righteous Teachers. So.
Oh, yeah. Shaquilla.
I set that battle up with him and Wise Intelligent, man.
Oh, because they were from Trenton. That's right.
They was from Trenton. And yeah, so you know they really loved Jay when he came through and shit. They took a nice liking to him and shit. And we just hustled and shit. And I,
And what was the scale? Like what you were selling on the street to
all right,
users?
so
You were doing selling little weight to dealers?
Trenton was like way much different, bro. Trenton was like way much different for me because it was so fast paced. You know, in New York, we had little spots where you can sell, you got dimes, trades, whatever, this and that, and the third. Trenton was just like an open market. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was like an open market where I was getting rid of 500 capsules a day, easy. 3,000 on the
like
weekend.
two for ones to the local guys?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. We was going to New York, actually, man. I had no idea, no knowledge about cooking up and cracking all that shit. We was buying it from Dominicans already in bottles for $3 a cap. For $3
and then
a
you
bottle.
were doing what? Two for
Yeah, so
five?
you would give it 2 for 5, 10 for 15, you know what I'm saying? 10 for 80, 15 for 100. You know what I'm saying? So before you look at it, you're gonna ran through 500 capsules, 1,000 capsules, quick, fast, and stuff. And Trenton was definitely a money maker for us. His role was, this is what you do, this is what you have, these are these guys, this and that, and third. And he wound up, he done well. You know what I'm saying? He was a good listener and follower. He knew how to hustle. Once you taught him what he had to do and shit, he knew how to follow orders and do what he had to do and shit. I can always say that he held shit down when I wasn't around. He wasn't a lame. He wasn't blowing no money. He wasn't a fuck up when it came to that. But he has always been rap, man. Like, I try to explain to people, like, what he does now and the music you hear now, it don't surprise me. Like, I saw it when it was on little bits of pieces of paper. You know what I'm saying? I saw it when he was on scrapbooks and he used to lead his shit around the crib, and my aunt used to be like, what is this guy? You know what I'm saying? So I saw it in its rarest form. So it's not surprising to me how talented he is. We saw that back then. But as far as hustling wise, man, everything I had done, I made sure I showed him, like any other big brother would.
Who was the big brother that he shot in the song? Is that a real story or?
Yeah, it's a real story, but it's not nothing gangster. It's just a family. It was a family.
But
thing,
that
man.
is real.
Yeah, it is real. It is
Okay.
real. You know what I mean?
But we'll leave it at that. Okay, I just wanted to.
Yeah.
So during so let me rise up and look down at the trees or the forest. Okay, so it's 90, 91, 92. Him and Jaz-O had got a little momentum, and then he was in another group, but it wasn't quite kicking in for him. So he's kind of around. He doesn't really have a deal. You guys are getting bigger and bigger?
So I ended up things was just, I'm one of them people that when I get a gut feeling, it's like 99% of the time that I'm correct on that gut feeling. Things was falling apart for me and Trent, and I seen a vision of me really getting in bad situations in Trent. So I was always open for another spot. So a friend of mine and shit was put me on to Maryland. He had a spot in Maryland where he couldn't provide enough work.
But not Baltimore, just so people know.
Not Baltimore, Eastern Shore, Maryland. So he had a spot on the Eastern Shore, Maryland, but he wasn't able to provide enough work for them. You know what I'm saying? So,
and what's the demographic? Is Eastern Shore like more?
It's a bridge that separates the Eastern Shore side of the board from Baltimore, which is the northern. All right, if I'm in Baltimore and I need to go to Eastern Shore, it's 30 minutes. It's 30 minutes to get over that bridge, but you can go deep into the shore where I was. You get what I'm saying? It'll take you an hour and a half and 2.5 hours to get to all the parts where I was. I was deep over there.
Because it's so connected in our mind with like New York, but really that's a southern state. That was a slave Confederate state, so it's kind of different.
It was. especially Eastern Shore. When you say the Eastern Shore, you talk about Harriet Tubman. She came through the underground over that way from Eastern, a town called Eastern Maryland. That shit was something like a gold. That changed my life, bro. I never seen that much money, that fast.
So a dime is a 20 and nobody's got it.
Nah. Well, when I went down there, right, for the first time I went down there, right, if my homie was like, yo, just bring 4 ounces, like I'm gonna say that, just bring 4 ounces. They ate that shit up so fast. You know, the prices for them then was, I was getting $1,300-$1,400
for an ounce.
For an ounce, and I was getting them already for like $7. You know what I'm saying? So it was like double money. It was like
double money. It's weight, selling weight,
selling weight. Now I no longer like it. They wasn't interested. Like, dude, like, yo, how many you got? I'll take it all. That's what I ran into. You know what I'm saying?
So you're getting $5,200 for an AFI or something.
So that got me. You know, that's I talked about that. That got me to a brick fast. Like, I had not been playing around with real weight until I got there. That got me to a brick in no time.
I bet
that actually not only just got me, it matured me fast.
And you're what age are you guys at this point? 21 or
21, yeah. I'm at 21, 22.
And when did Emory come in?
Emory came in soon as I got like a few weeks, soon as I got down there, really. You know what I'm saying? I kind of like, I always got a good character judgment about who getting money and how people hustle. I can see how you hustle to see, to see what kind of qualities you got before I fuck with you. And Emory had those qualities.
Was that a less dangerous area than Baltimore?
It's less dangerous, but more jail time. You understand? Like, it's almost like you would be in a Commonwealth state, almost. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna.
Is it mostly white, or is it like little small black towns, or just?
Nah, it's a lot of little small black towns, but it's run by a lot. It's run by white people a lot. But
so it's kind of the power dynamic is a lot different than New York. Let's just say.
Yeah, way different.
Did you, if you had to interact with the police just getting pulled over, like, was it like, oh, you're from New York, what the hell are you doing? Or was that a vacation area?
Nah, if you get pulled over from New York, you're going to have problems. They're going to give you
problems. Want to know what you up to.
They're going to they're going to, about time they pulled me up, they knew who I was already.
Oh.
Yeah, they already knew who I was when they pulled me up, man.
Now, what year did Jay-Z's start his rap career? So he's down there. He's still doing the same thing with you. He's kind of just helping you, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I never really put him as helping me, man. What was mine was his, man.
Well, I'm saying you're together. I mean, you're kind of together. That's what I mean. Right. You guys are doing the same operation.
Yeah, we living out the same house, same operation. Dude, I look back on them and I'm telling them, it's like, yo, listen, Trenton is not going to be an option for us no more. We stepping it all the way up. Maryland is going to be a bigger option. So, get ready for that. And the same blueprint that I applied for Trenton, I applied in Maryland to set it up for whenever Jay and them come down, that it'd be laid out already. But prior to Jay and them coming down, man, I started that relationship with Emory, and a few other guys. I had a bunch of all of them was in high school, man.
Emory's a little younger.
Yeah, when I met Emory was 16, 15 or something like that in high school already and shit. And
but he was already seasoned as far as getting money.
He was getting money, but he wasn't getting money until he wasn't getting real money.
Well, he knew what he was doing. He just didn't have enough stuff.
Right.
Can you hang out there, or how did that?
Yeah. I made a home front there. I made a home front there.
So it was comfortable. It wasn't.
It was comfortable because I didn't come into this town. I didn't come into these areas as if I'm on some takeover shit with some New York shit. You feel me? So it was comfortable for me because First of all, I was the youngest dude down there dealing with all the older, big time dealers.
The local guys.
Yeah, which they was older. Older men was running that shit when I got there.
So Emery really was a novelty. You helped him.
Yeah. Emery was was a regular street block dude, you know, get his little sneaker money and whatever. But you know what I'm saying? I turned Emery into like a boss. Emery was more, he knew how to operate like a boss. I know I've been in his crib and been in his safe, and I saw, you know, he may have owed me 40,000, and then after I take my 40,000, I could see 50, 60,000 in his safe, but that's his money. And he in high school.
Oh wow!
You understand? This is what I had going on for them boys in high school, and Emery wouldn't be the only one. You know what I'm saying? I had 10 Emerys down there. You get what I'm saying?
Well, how much were you think when you would go up top to cop? Like, what were you grabbing at the peak? Couple things.
Okay, this is how my hustling mentality was for that. I knew 5 guys that had potential that I had fucked with. Let's just say I had 5 guys that had potential, that messed with me, that dealt with me all the time, right? I told those 5 guys, this is what I'm gonna do, man. In my mind, I felt like this, like, the only way I'm gonna get rich if I make them rich. So I'm gonna make them rich first. So what I started doing, after they used to buy all the work off me, when I'm ready to go up New York, I tell them, yo, give me your money, I'm gonna go use your money. I'm gonna give you the craziest deal for your money. Let's say, if I was giving you a half a brick already, if I was giving you a half a brick for 17, 16, right? I would just.
Oh, you could get a whole brick in New York for 17, right? Or damn near.
I never saw it down to that. I mean, I saw it close to that when Reaganomics was in office, but not at this time. Oh. Let's just say I used 100,000 of their money, but I'll give them everything they're supposed to get, the lowest price. If I was giving it to them for 12 or 13 or 0, I brought it down to 8, just so they can get their money up. When I make sure I got all their money up, that's when I stopped taking their money. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, you gave them a cushion. You gave them a little power base.
Right. And then I knew once I can get them rich and get the money, I can get their trust.